All right, we are well prepared today. We are on time here at the We the People Podcast Network, hosting Politically Correcting Podcast with myself, Jose Pio. Got my sidekick here as always, Lavelle. Dan, it will be not joining us tonight. We'll show you who will be joining us after we allow them on the show. But as always, smash that like button, subscribe. Share with your friends as well. This is gonna be I think it's gonna be a good conversation. Last week we had the PAB on, the executive director, and we've got to make sure we have an even showing, right? It's always about having an open dialogue and having both sides of the conversation. So I'm happy that they came on last week, and we have a good guest on this week as well. Before we get into that, though, we want to make sure that we share a drink with our friends, amongst our friends, having open dialogue with each other, with the full understanding that we're able to actually speak to each other still. We can still talk to each other, whether online, whether on a microphone, whether on your cell phone. It is okay to think for yourself, speak for yourself, speak your mind, have your own ideas, and still be able to walk away friends. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Salud. Boom.
All right.
Austin, you didn't have the this time.
No, I opened it.
You opened it early? Yeah, I did too. Don't worry. All right. So first, we're going to start off with what's going on.
This dirty mayor. That
you got to show it. What are you doing? You can't talk about it.
Wait,
You're missing the logo
this
there.
Is some good right here.
Dirty mayor. Our guest here brought us this drink here.
It's lovely.
I get that. Austin made that joke before, and I was like, "Oh, that's good. I'm glad that you like it." I did not get it whatsoever. Now I got it.
Now you got it.
I'm gonna start with a monologue here for the men out there. All right, men, you need to be able to protect your loved ones, right, from violence. If another man breaks into your home with your wife next to you or your significant other, whatever you like, it doesn't matter to me. Don't ask that person nicely to leave. You step up into action and destroy their chances of ever doing that again. Take that in whatever way you want. Now, what Will Smith did was not that. His wife was slobbing on another man's knob, fornicating against her husband, then had the audacity to tell him to his face in front of millions of people. And what did Will do then? Will cried. That's it. He shed tears and allowed his wife to disrespect him both physically and emotionally. But when Chris Rock made fun of Jada's bald head, when she herself said she loved and didn't care what anyone said about it, this grown man with obvious emotional distress felt the need to swoop into action against a, 150-pound soaking wet Chris Rock? I mean, what Will did was not protect. What he did was way, way worse than an assault. He is a black man of esteemed social status. He has a virtuous duty to be above unprovoked violence, but he disregarded common decency, disrespected social morales, and showed millions of people who look up to him that physically attacking someone who makes fun of your hair is being manly and virtuous. And that adds to the degradation of a society that is already on a downward spiral.
Said it very, very well there. I would like to thank Wanda Sykes for saying gay.
Gay.
Yeah, so now I can say that, first of all, what Will Smith did was gay. What the reaction that happened afterwards was gay. The Oscars is gay. A lot of the people who enjoy it and
pedophiles
and literally falling with all of the bullshit is gay. So thank you, Wanda, for allowing us to say the word again.
Wanda did give you the okay.
She gave me the okay, because there's a lot of shit that I see every day that is like, I could just be driving down the street and be like, this dude could be 100% heterosexual. I could be like, that dude is gay.
You can now, because I don't know what they were talking about. Also, I don't watch the Grammys, Emmys,
me either.
Any of that. I don't watch none of that.
And I say, for me to wear this hat today, I'm wearing this hat proudly because somebody stole my car, and that's gay, right?
I'll give you that one. That one's definitely gay.
That's very gay.
Not saying gay people go out there and steal vehicles.
But if you steal somebody's car, you're gay. Period. So since Friday, I'm without my car because somebody wanted to be gay and steal my shit. 1 a.m, leave a motherfucker high and dry, just getting some wings, and you just steal your shit on Monroe Avenue. Gay.
Monroe Avenue, that district over there,
Gay.
led by someone who loves the police, would never want to, defund police. That person that represents that district over there.
Oh, really? And thank God that they're actually still looking for my car. And from speaking with well-informed officers, being that the police department is still short-staffed, the fact that it's a lot harder for them to actually just patrol for stolen vehicles, which I believe it's true that if they get caught, it's just an appearance ticket. Am I right? Am I wrong?
We're gonna say yes on that one.
It's an appearance ticket for
your life was not put in danger.
Okay, so that is also
I believe that's the reasoning,
and that's also gay. So, I'm rocking this hat, and shout out to the officer who helped me out at 5 a.m. and got my police report filled out.
Who is my retired RPD stepdad's old partner? That's what we call him. Old partner.
Yeah. Really good guy. Will fuck you up if you step out of line. And thankfully there's people out there like that.
That guy does not mess around.
Listen, man, when you shook my hand, I almost pressed charges.
Did you feel your soul leaving out? Can I get your supervisor?
Yeah.
What's your badge number?
Yeah, it's been a rough week, but again,
let's lift you up today.
Thankfully, we have a law enforcement that actually gives a fuck about the people still and their job.
They always have.
And it's hard to do what they do when you got a lot of gay motherfuckers out there.
So let's lift your spirits up this week with not only another amazing politically correcting podcast episode, but let's go over the weekly topics here. Besides the Chris Rock thing, actually, bring up. Did you see what Jim Carrey said about it? I really don't give a crap about this.
Okay,
but Jim Carrey here tears into the Oscars.
You don't give a fuck, Jose.
I don't. Okay. Nigga, Jim Carrey actually tore into the crowd. He said it was sickening. He said, I was sickened about how the spineless Oscars crowd gave him an ovation, gave Will Smith an ovation after he did what he did. He said, I'd have announced this morning that I have suing Will. I'm sorry, I can't even read. I'd have announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video was going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous. That insult is going to last a very long time. If you want to yell from the audience and disprove or show a disapproval or say something on Twitter or whatever, you do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words. I love Jim Carrey.
Yeah, well,
in real life.
I don't really like this whole little conversations. I think it was kind of staged anyway.
I believe you think it was staged as well. So should we jump into the weekly COVID update?
No, we can talk about it. Like
I'm done talking. I'm tired of this. Here's the thing. But I'm glad that Jim Carrey said what he said, because Jim Carrey is a very smart man.
This is how I treat entertainment now, right? Like
That's
I really
what it
think now I think everything is WWE now.
Yeah.
I think like that slap was typical WWE. Like,
so you don't think he has emotional distress over what his wife has done to him over the past couple years?
No, man, they're attention whores, man. They love it. They're all narcissists. Chris Rock freaking ticket sales went through the roof for his tour. The next day. Will Smith has over 60 million followers. He wants memes. He wants to be the pussy that's crying. He wants the negative and he wants the positive. You got the dummies that's all, Will Smith is a, chivalry isn't dead. And then you got the Will Smith is a pussy. You got Shannon Sharp saying he would beat the shit out of Will Smith. And he probably would. But overall, Chris Rock looked like he wanted that slap. We didn't give a shit about Chris Rock's Netflix comedy special.
Nope.
Everybody's talking about Dave Chappelle, right? And what he said, and honestly, Dave Chappelle's controversy was a little bit more, I think, authentic because he's speaking to more freedom of speech. I don't know how the hell Will Smith is gonna get up and start keep my name out, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Now watch his mouth was so exaggerated, so you know he wanted everybody to focus on his bullshit.
He wanted that smoke.
No, he's just a. I mean,
He wants it all.
Will
Both
Smith
sides.
is gay too.
All right.
He's gay.
You know, this is gay. COVID. Let's pull up our weekly COVID
Very
update with the
gay.
border restrictions being lifted or about to be lifted. Look at what Biden states: his administration plans in May to end pandemic border restrictions blocking migrants. Who was he blocking? Because I didn't see any blocking of migrants. Did you see blocking of migrants?
Wait, what happened with the Hades? Like the Haitians, like not too long ago.
Right. So, and we had over 2 million people that came in here illegally.
And he's about to bring in some more motherfuckers from Ukraine.
Yeah.
What the
So
fuck?
what's
is
he talking
this?
about? Well, you see it's CNN politics here. That's our weekly COVID update. that's what's happening because I don't want to. They're coming back out with this new variant, and does it matter to you?
Yeah, China got locked down.
Yeah. Good for
Oh
them.
wait, Chris Rock was on the Lolita Express. Of course he was.
I want to see receipts. I don't know about that.
Listen, everybody was
receipts.
on there. Everybody was on there, yo. And just in typical conspiracy fashion, someone dies who knows everything, and you know, like Kennedy assassination.
Your conspiracy theories
someone
might be way
dies,
off. I
and-
had a conspiracy theory on there too that got shown as incorrect, but I ended up taking off because I knew we wouldn't have enough time because I knew you'd want to talk about Will Smith. War update. Let's bring up the Ukraine aid. This U.S. to provide $500 million in budgetary aid to Ukraine. I want a line-by-line audit of where this money is going. I want to know exactly why we're giving them $500 million when Joe Biden expressed that he was going to cancel student debt. He said we're going to get $2,000 in COVID relief checks per person. So I want to know why did we just send $500 million to Ukraine, and how did we send it? Did we fax it to them? Did we wire transfer, a cashier's check? Where's that money going to exactly? How are they going to spend it?
I don't know.
I want to know.
I know a couple investors is getting some kickbacks off of that.
Oh yeah, ton of people.
Especially American, Russian, everybody's eating off of that 500 mil. And we're probably going to send another 500 mil. Just keep everybody concerned about Ukraine. And, you know, it's so funny how everybody focuses on Ukraine, like just out the blue. Like everybody's a political junkie. Everybody's up on world news and shit when they never give a damn. What? Oh.
It's because of Trump.
That's
Trump
right.
made people watch TV.
That's right. Everybody knows what they're talking about now.
Well, speaking of people who know what they're talking about, bring up the sexual education for children. Because I know you love this.
That's so good.
Why are these? I can't read any of this stuff here. Focus on parental rights, chips away at gay rights.
Parental rights chips away at gay rights.
Yes.
Who's stopping you from being gay? Who is stopping you from being? You know where you want to go if you want to get stopped being gay? Go to
Another
Saudi
country.
Arabia.
Any other country.
Go to Dominican Republic.
Go to any other country.
Go to
Maybe not Canada.
Well, go to a bunch of African countries and see how far your gay is gonna go.
Yeah,
you can be as gay as you want to in America. So gay you can host the Oscars and say this is gonna be a gay show. And Wanda is she's such a thug. Who she's talking about because she's taking shots at the supposed gay bill down in Florida when they just don't want to teach little 3-year-olds about freaking sex and
Samara
sex.
Brouk here, our local senator here, she wants to.
Why you gotta be a sister though, man? Why
Sex
every
ed for kindergartners.
yo? Every time. It's some freaking, African American up there standing up for some equality rights.
They're getting
don't even
suckered
pay
right into it. Suckered right into it.
But
you see the picture to the left. Remember that state senator broke down in tears discussing Florida bill and coming out as gay. And look who's rubbing his back and making sure he's okay.
What is that?
A white woman.
Oh, of course. You got to have the mixture. You know what I mean? You got to say
diversity.
You got to confuse everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that shows that you're on both sides, right?
Right.
Everyone's agreeing because we have black and white together.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they truly love each other.
Well, right before we get on to bring our guests, I want to make sure we go over this quick topic about SUNY Brockport, because I'm sure they're going to have some insight into this as well.
That's a hot one.
This, man. But it's been added onto. So let's lay the groundwork for people around world here that listen to our podcast. We have a college here that decided to bring on what was he called? A political prisoner?
Yeah, something like
Political
that.
prisoner. This man shot and killed 2 police officers.
Pretty sure he's an activist now.
Right. So they brought him on and was going to pay him a good penny to come out to college and speak. Someone brought it up and said, "Nah, that's not right. This guy's not a political prisoner. He's a freaking murderer."
Yep.
Backlash. Boom. A couple of days later, they come out with this article. SUNY Brockport says large numbers of police being on campus is traumatizing. Let's students skip class. Traumatizing.
Yeah.
Large numbers of police being on campus is traumatizing. Remember, they said that about the schools, and that's why they got rid of the SROs out of the schools. So we had no police presence at all, even police that just were there to protect other little kids from various reasons. They said, we don't want anybody protecting our kids at the schools. We want to protect them ourselves. And look at what's been happening in our schools lately.
That's traumatizing.
That's more traumatizing than seeing a man who was legally owned, operated, capable of shooting a weapon at a freaking disturbed person and stopping them from shooting up my kid's class. I want that person.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they'll check out before someone that is known for killing a motherfucker. Like
the actual quote that they said and from the school, and I went to SUNY Brockport, so this is really upsetting me. I even donated to them not too long ago before this, obviously. And they said, for some students, if the event proceeds in person, the possible advent of large numbers of police on campus may be another traumatizing event. Further, some students may choose to not attend classes due to personal safety concerns.
How do they know? How do they know these kids are fucking traumatized or would be traumatized? Who's speaking? Who's the expert? Who's the one that's on campus getting a feel for the fear that these kids? It's kind of like you're like programming them.
Yeah.
You know?
You do feel fear. You are afraid.
Yeah. Oh shit. You know what? You're right. I thought about it.
That one person equates all of you.
I just feel scared now. You're right. You know, like
it's a liberal studies teacher, professor. Well, I want to make sure we name these 2 gentlemen who lost their lives for our country here. We've got police officers Waverly Jones and Joseph A. I don't want to mess up this last name.
How ironic. It's a black and a white officer killed by a black dude who now is coming to talk about it. Obviously, he has to talk about it. What the fuck else are you're there for? No one wants to hear. How is this dude even considered a leader of some sort?
He was a part of the Black Liberation Army radical group.
That's these are the new African American leaders.
Well, it's BLM before, now it's BLA. Or no, BLA before, now BLM.
These are the new African American leaders. But see, somebody like me, right? Who we've been on the show a couple times, right? And we've had guests who literally considered me a Uncle Tom because I'm telling them that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Yes, there are bad people out there. However, that's not preventing you from being successful. I'm I'm just the misinformed black dude that's appeasing to the white man.
Yeah, you're the sellout.
I'm the sellout. But this, a black dude killing a black officer and a white officer, and yet you are allowing?
You're putting that on a pedestal.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at what the type of people we put on pedestals.
Like, so would they be considered, like, the people that's doing it, would they be considered radical? Because that is that's
as radical as it gets. If you're shooting or
right?
killing somebody, especially a police officer, I would say that's pretty radical.
And you're supporting that.
And that would also make you radical.
That would make you, okay.
Well, let's bring on our guests. That way they have, I think they would have some insight into what we just spoke about here. If you don't, you can feel free not to say anything. But we've got the president of the Rochester Locust Club, Mike Mazzeo, and our special guest here taking over for Dan, Adam DeVincentis. Am I saying it right?
That's right. That's right.
Oh, that was perfect. Thank you guys very much for coming on and for the swag.
Yes.
He's got his hat on.
Yes.
What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about Brockport bringing on my alma mater, bringing on a cop killer on campus, paying him to speak to students?
The first issue was, why did it seem like a good idea to have him paroled in Rochester at what we've been going through for the last 2 years? Is this a good environment? I mean, what was the logic behind that? First of all, he came out of New York City, obviously, and he look. If he went through and did his time and whatever reasons he got paroled, which I'm questioning the logic behind that, but then to bring him into our community that's just going through all kinds of changes.
That's a good way of putting it.
And then certainly at a time when we talk about transparency and putting everything out there, they announced this gentleman talking as a political prisoner and no background, nothing about what he did and why there'd be such outrage. That's a problem.
What the fuck makes it a political? Like, how are you become a political prisoner when you kill 2 cops?
When are you not a political prisoner if you are a far left radical?
Like, but that just doesn't make, like, you just tried to put some curtains on a fucking fucked up.
That was lipstick on a pig right there.
Yeah, like you really, and then
his mother lives in Brighton. That makes
that makes. So she said, you know what, you're gonna come here and you're gonna be somebody. You're gonna tell your story. It's time you can be an activist.
That's why he was paroled to Rochester, I guess.
Because we got a lot of fucking activists in Rochester, yo. It's a fucking bumper sticker. Everybody's a damn activist. Even like fucking misinformed white women, like you getting, like I had an argument with a white woman to telling me how racist the world is. Like, bitch, fuck you telling me how racist the world is. Like, I'm okay. No. You what do you mean you're okay? Bitch, I'm okay. Like, like what's going on with the world?
What is going on? Talk to us about what's going on in the police world, because I feel as though there's just unnecessary drama. Every turn that we have, there's always something, and somebody makes something out of something that really was nothing. I don't want to say it's nothing. I don't want to disparage what people go through, but to me, some things could have been eliminated if you just do as what my dad always taught me. Respect your elders. Police officer tells you to do something, or a grown-up tells you to do something, or someone in some form of responsible manner tells you, hey, hold up, like stop, turn, face the person. It's just very basic things that I know. I had post one time about how I was told when you're pulled over by a police officer, you put your hands on 10 and 2. You make sure you have your insurance and ID card already out. You respectfully say what you got to say. Don't reach for anything. Don't say anything more than what you need to say. Just be respectful. This person has a job to do, and the last thing they want is to deal with some little asshole kid, that's giving them mouth. What is going on in this world today? How are police feeling today in the world that we're living in? And not only just the world, but the city that we're living in, where we're again about to hit the highest record of shootings. We might even surpass it this year. How are they feeling? What's the feeling out there in the police world?
Demoralized, demeaned, frustrated. But let's think about this. What started there, or where is the problem? Police officers, these 2 guys that lost their lives in New York, they were sworn to do one thing: allow freedom in this country for people to speak out no matter what their feelings were or views were. What we have today, what the worst part about what happened in the last year and a half to 2 years, is that we had no voice. The people who are tasked and take an oath to even potentially give up their life had their voice taken away from them.
They're shunned.
You couldn't say nothing. You couldn't do anything. Nobody could speak to you. People had to walk away and turn their backs on us. We had this Democratic delegation here on the state side that even refused to come into an endorsement interview. That's the opportunity.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the opportunity for them to hear our concerns and for us to hear them and to learn and exchange. And it was no, we can't even talk to them. You know, in fact, years ago, one time, Adam McFadden told me, he said, Mike, the last thing I need is an endorsement from the Locust Club.
Whoa.
Right?
We see why now.
but to his but boy, you know, to be fair,
He can't be looked at no
thing on that one.
snitch. You know what I mean? You got to keep the money flowing.
Oh my God.
This is before that. But no, but seriously though, he thought more importantly, it was important that he came in and exposed himself to our members that could ask him questions and could engage him in conversation so he could hear some. And I
Right.
respected that.
It was one of the best
You know,
interviews we
I
had.
really did. I look, I at least I got to say this, outside of maybe one council member now, I won't mention no names, I don't really have a relationship with anyone, or
Damn.
we don't have a voice with anyone. And,
Or an
and
ear.
that's not good.
You don't have the ear of
That's not
anyone.
good at all.
Huh?
So how does that affect not just, you spoke on the morale, but how does it affect even recruitment? Like who wants to be a cop today?
Recruitment stuff. I mean, we need to have actual recruitment, and in the city of Rochester right now, it's nearly impossible because there's this image. We've become like the Portland of the East. We have officers in Portland and counterparts in Portland who shake their heads and say, "Man, I feel bad what you guys are dealing with there in Rochester."
In Portland?
In Portland, we've
Jeez.
outshined Portland. Portland just worked on getting a contract settled. The money that was taken from Portland, I think it was 15 million. They just settled things up and put 15.3 million back in the contract, back in the budget for police, because they're trying to do anything they can to hire any sort of people they can. I mean, we used to be incredibly picky in who we hired. We used to, weed through everything, and now they've lowered standards and things to try to get some people. But we're having a tough time here, just even getting some incentive. You look at the counties and the towns, and you'll see they're giving signing bonuses. People are leaving our department to go to these other departments. So,
And you have to understand, police, because we have special pension plans that allow us to retire at 20 years of age. You can stay
the
longer,
military.
of course. Right. So with that in mind, you have to have a process of overhiring.
Yeah.
Because you have to be prepared for people that are ready to retire at different times. Especially, you hope that you retain people as they get more experience and, can offer a lot more to the city with their experience and their relationships and what they've done.
Mhm.
And, when you stop that process, then you put yourself in a deficit that you can't catch up. And then you add that to the perfect storm of events that policing across this country has faced. It's incredible.
Well, when you guys were giving out tests, let's say when you first came on, how many people were taking tests at that time?
I took a test in, I believe it was 2000. I was hired in 2001. I had 3,500 people.
3,500. And how many were actually brought on?
28.
3,500, 28. How many people took the test this last time?
212, I believe.
Damn.
So another sobering stat on that is that since 2017, we've retired or resigned 189 police officers in Rochester, and we've hired 87. So 102 less since 2017.
The crisis is
Jeez.
that we can't do anything right now. This is something that should have been done months ago. We can't. What's hiring going to do? It's going to take a period of time to even go through the process. It's going to take a year to get them out on the street. And we're short, and we critically need 65 to 80 officers right now. And we're just supplementing. We're just putting bodies in a car to cover on overtime just to take 911 calls. So forget about the special attentions. Forget about some crime initiatives.
Proactive.
Hopefully not stolen cars.
Yo, let me ask you this question. Yeah, hopefully not, motherfuckers. What do you guys hear? Reimagine police. The police force. What does that like mean, when you hear politicians say we need to reimagine how we're policed in our communities? Like, what does that mean to you guys?
All we've heard is comments like that, but or problems that are wrong, but no solutions. But you know why? Because solutions are very difficult. It takes, some thought, some real conversation, some interaction, some meeting of minds. So anybody can just attack and criticize. And look, we've been very vocal for a number of years that there are some changes that are needed. We're on board with that. In fact, we tried to get changes over the years.
Were you
but-
were you on board with that? Because you brought up Adam McFadden before, and he
Mhm.
did write in a letter back in 2011 that the police were out of control. Were you on board with that back then?
That's when I established a relationship with him and said, okay, let's work on it.
Right.
Let's make some changes.
Yeah.
But-
Instead of complaining about something, let's talk about how we're going to fix this.
yeah. And let's remember the reason why, and I think everybody can recognize it now that we're here, is in 2004. And, when you talk about who are the watchdogs for government or oversight to government, it's the unions that will speak out. And
That's what they're
it's the
supposed to do.
unions. Frustrated, but more importantly, not just for their members, but in order to be successful, the city's got to be successful. So it's 2004. They decided to take us out of the neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods are, the school, the church, the police station. What's gone in the city? We lost a lot of churches. We lost all the Catholic churches, and we lost the police stations. And I'm not sure what schools are left, quite frankly, as well. So we decimated what the neighborhoods should be. We took the stuff that brought people together and ensured when there was issues and problems, there was a group that could work on it or could bring attention to it. So what we created with this nightmare of two compounds, we call them, because we separated, and then we had to hear criticisms that you're not good neighbors or you're out of touch. Well, yeah, because we've had generations of police officers that have been out of the neighborhoods per se. And that, if there's anything that we can do, and we have to do things that are specific to Rochester, we can't worry about Oregon. We can't worry about Portland.
Right.
Talk about Rochester. And in fact, when the start of this PAB came about, that was our message. Why are you doing a copy paste legislation that will not fit, is legally not correct? It does not address the problem specific to Rochester. Why don't we instead sit down, create something that can be a model for something that's effective and works?
When was the last time you seen Rochester be proactive about something? Like be the leader in something? When have we been the leader in something?
Well,
Kodak?
What makes it hard to do that is when you have politicians that want to be fucking, celebrities.
Well, don't the politicians speak for the people?
They
Supposed
okay,
to.
so all right.
Right. So they're supposed to. So at some
supposed
point,
to.
you got to say, though, this person got elected because he was speaking for the people, right? You gotta give him that.
Well, yeah, it makes it easy. It makes it easier for them when they're just saying what the people are
wanna
reading
hear.
on Facebook,
Yeah.
for what the people are looking on Twitter, for what video comes on to something happens in Atlanta, right? Where you see somebody, in an altercation. It takes one fucking video for 10 seconds for the whole entire context to be given in that 10 seconds. And now all of a sudden, the opinion of the masses is already there. So now here in Rochester, our fucking whack ass politicians that want to be somebody that don't know shit, who just want to say some buzzwords so that they feel
save one person.
right. So shit. I don't even know all of these motherfuckers that's up there now. But anyway, they're doing it for their own attention. Well, here in Rochester, we need to do something. Then all it takes is for one situation here in the city to be caught on camera.
Yep.
And then it goes viral because everybody wants to be a fucking reporter. And now we have our mayor. Well, then it was the Lovelies. It was the what's his name, Evans and
Richards,
the Scotts,
Johnson.
all the motherfuckers that just let them riot our city, thinking that what happened in fucking Minnesota is supposed to happen here in Rochester when it's not. Where we've had a very diverse city for decades. Decades. We've gotten along just fine. We've been getting along since Frederick Douglass ass came around this goddamn city. You know what I mean? He was banging white chicks all over the place in the 1800s. And nobody cared in Rochester. Those are facts. Those are facts.
Can you prove that?
Listen.
Can you prove that?
We can prove it because the historians talk about it all the time. But anyway, but my point though is the race relations in this city is unique and second to none. We have a very diverse suburb. We do.
Yeah.
Except Fairport. But they're working on it. All right. They got their own project out there, the Pines, right?
Parenton. Yep.
Right. So the other surrounding suburbs like Greece, Irondequoit, West Irondequoit, Brighton, you know,
Pittsford,
Gates, Penfield, Gates, right? We have diversity here in this city. It's time that we can kind of, you know, turn off the fucking TV, shut old ass Joe Biden ass up and all these, you know.
So you're saying the propaganda has kind of ruined our city to believe that what's happening in other cities is equivalent to what is happening here, even though the person that may have been restrained might have been just, I don't know, busting through some windows and on PCP.
Yeah.
And multiple times that day.
All these dummies.
I don't put words in your mouth though.
You're fine. All these dummies like the Ashley Gants of the world that sat up there with her fucking bullhorn and say, you know, defund the police, police ain't shit, and then was allowed to walk down East Avenue and yell in white folks' faces while they're trying to eat their dinner and, you know, in peace, flip tables over like she's some motherfucking god or somebody over some shit that she is not the historian either. Don't know shit about history, don't know shit about race relations, don't even know shit about Rochester. Not a motherfucking thing. And yet we allowing these people to sit up here and speak for everybody that has dealt with shit, that has actually needed some assistance from law enforcement.
Yeah, it's good timing because you're literally speaking here as a man of color who needs the police. They showed up and they assisted you. They served and protected
by a colored officer who's big as a motherfucker will fuck you up on sight.
Shout out to Ted.
Yes. Shout out to him, man. At 5 a.m, he came through and helped out a brother.
So how many times can we have that story before people of color finally stand up and say, I want to be the change that I wish to see in the police force, right? Because to me, that's what I keep missing is, you know, they talk about how they want change. They say they want to, you know, reimagine police. And I say, okay, the best way to do that is to get involved. That's why I got involved in politics. Best way to change it is from the inside. Go do it. But now you're sitting here telling me that 200 people showed up to a test when you first got on. We're talking about 3,500 people. That's insane. Mm-hmm. So what do we got to do? What can we do to reach out to the communities that feel as if the people that, you know, Lavelle is speaking of speaks for them? How can we turn to them and say, come help us then? Be part of this change.
Now, I think we're seeing it. I mean, we're hearing that. We're hearing a loud voice.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm tired of voices. I want to hear footsteps. I want to see the action.
You're right. But there's people that are very, very frustrated. And the problem, I think, is they've given up on government, first of all. And they have rightly so in many senses. They have a right to feel that way. But if we don't take that action, and let me tell you something, when you talk about PAB here,
we haven't even gotten to the PAB yet.
Well,
we haven't even touched on PAB yet.
But it's
coming, don't you worry.
It's a good segue here.
Yeah.
But you know, you're looking at something that they started out as a grassroots effort, right? Or at least that's what they tried to propose. This is not a grassroots effort. This is a total bureaucracy.
$5 million budget.
Yep.
Freaking oak tree.
Can I show you? You can't see it probably, right? But I mean, that's a list of positions here. Take a look at that. That's a list of positions, and at the bottom is starting say and
what's an administrative analyst is getting 51 to 68,000. That's more than an officer that's out there fucking, risking his life to, save somebody.
We start at 46. To put that in
Oh.
perspective, I don't know if there's a salary range that starts that low on that sheet.
A case manager, 48 to 62,000. And they want 1, 2, 3, 4 of those motherfuckers because they need a bilingual one. Only one bilingual. A DC of case management. So that's 69 to 91 grand. Fuck. I mean, more case managers, more associate communication assistant.
None of those can be related to a police officer.
An associate communication assistant gets 63 to 84,000.
Come on.
An associate. Okay.
That's without benefits.
What the fuck is a press officer? A press officer is 72 to 95 grand. Chief of investigations. Wasn't he just on? Was that our guy?
No, he's executive director.
Oh, executive director. He's at 81 to 107,000. And they don't just want one, they want 1, 2 of these motherfuckers.
What were they?
Chief of investigations.
Okay.
And this does not include fringe benefits. I'll say that. I'll put that there.
Hmm.
Yep. This is another good one. An accountability inspector. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to apply for this job. 61 to $80,000 for an accountability inspector. Can we ask what the fuck is accountability inspector?
I feel like a lot of those were kind of made up, and they actually brought it to city council, and we did have questions about it, and they didn't sue us, but they got legal involved to say you don't have any directive over who we can hire and how much we can hire them for.
Well, look, wait, let me count how many accountability inspectors they're looking for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these motherfuckers.
The real question is how many cases have they even taken on this year?
All at 61 to 80,000 a
big
pop.
goose egg. They have not taken on a single case this
So
year.
they're just getting paid?
Yeah.
Fuck, damn.
Whoever they've hired is collecting a paycheck right now. We weren't even able to get into this last week. So that's why he wanted to come back on, because he's gonna have to come back on to answer this.
These motherfucking questions.
Yeah,
I
because
need
we
to
didn't
know.
even get into this.
I didn't know we had this money.
$5 million. And I said, I did state that was way, way too high because they were just getting started. Who knows when they were going to get their first case in? Who knows how many cases they're going to get in?
Well, we've got some history on how many cases we've had, and that's part of
Go
the
ahead.
issue. Is, I mean, we gave stats to the city council in 2017. I think was the first time we tried to, we had that independent, which was an independent accountability study, which was just full of.
Is that the Civilian Review Board?
No, this was.
That's a different board.
This was Ted Forsyth and Barbara Lacker-Ware that did this independent study on police accountability. That
Okay.
was anything but independent, with 10 different cases where they took basically just a notice of claim filing against the city and said,
Okay.
this is what happened and this is horrible. And if you read a notice of claim for any lawsuit, it's from the perspective of winning the lawsuit. It's not the facts of the case.
Right.
So we brought that with actual depositions from witnesses, police reports to city council to disprove every single one. All of them were lies, just straight lies.
Damn.
And it went completely unchecked. We showed in 2011, we had 86 civilian complaints. It went down every single year right till 2019, where the last 3 years of that was 13 complaints, and then 11. After Ferguson, after body-worn cameras, after a whole lot of changes where police departments and police officers across the country made changes. There was changes made from 2015, 2016. You had officers who maybe, you say all the time, if it's a bad officer, he's a bad officer. Some people who say, look, I can't police in this. I'm a bad officer, retired. They left. They weren't going to be in there. We improved as a profession across the nation with the pressures that were put on saying you need to improve. We watched them drop every single year. So last year, I'm not sure what the number was. The report's not out, probably due to COVID. But like I said, 2019, it was 11 civilian complaints. Now we hear, when you watch all the PAB meetings, they're going to investigate up to 400 because they can take anonymous complaints. They can generate complaints. They can look into anything they want to look into.
Anything. Yep.
Well, we had 11 the last time. Those are civilian complaints. How are we going to get to 400?
Well, look at what happened in Minneapolis. Now the jury or the judge just awarded $14 million to the protesters.
To the protesters.
To the protesters.
The ones that
was that Denver?
blew up Target.
No. Do we have that article still? I sent it to you. It was.
They burnt down Target though. In
Oh, they burnt out a whole lot.
like a bunch.
Yeah, but they got paid $14 million.
Fuck. You know,
Don't you think that's going to escalate to something like people are going to sue? In my eyes, I feel like knowing Rochester, we always take the easiest route to the fastest cash. And when you know that you have an entire, and I am, again, this is not me being against the PAB because, for years, we've seen that city council has been asking for police accountability. For years, we've been seeing people asking for police accountability. And I think that police officers were also asking for it as well.
Mhm.
So talk to that. Are you guys, state it for the people out there. Are you against the PAB?
No, listen, accountability
Mhm.
is important. We see ourselves as watchdogs. I mean, we called out zero tolerance. No such thing in policing.
Yeah, but you called it out though, they always say there's the blue line, right? There's always a blue line. I know that. I know that in the military. There's always something that says you can call it out, but will you actually do it? So people are looking at you saying, is he going to actually do it though? So talk to us about what has been done.
We in fact, we voiced it. We understand. At the same time, our people were under orders. So we went out to see what this meant. And
Mhm.
it was a nightmare.
We're talking zero tolerance where we had
The
no
protests.
choice. No, we had no choice in enforcement.
Okay.
If there was a car in front of a hydrant, it's $100 ticket. If you pull over a car, you had no discretion. This is when Duffy was mayor. And it was
Gotcha.
zero tolerance because we're going to attack crime. So we took good people in the neighborhoods, poor people in the neighborhoods. We had no discretion whatsoever for months. We had to write every violation, make every arrest.
I'm thinking the complete opposite. I'm thinking of
Yeah.
zero discretion against police officers. You're saying against
No,
the
this
people
This
who
is
are,
against the people.
a crime initiative
Okay.
and an action.
and this is under Duffy.
And they spent about 6.7 million or something, right?
Mhm.
And to accomplish absolutely nothing. And then the best part, a few months later, and our first message was, so we're being ordered to go out and work double shifts every night and stop everything that moves. You talk about, questionable violations of civil rights, certainly by orders from government that we had to do it. And we remember, as a military, you
When was
understand.
this?
This is 2006, maybe.
Yeah, just after reorg, a couple years after, right after
yeah.
2006, I think.
Is this
Yeah.
coming up to the hit squad thing?
No,
many years after.
Many years
that.
after
Okay.
that, yeah.
But
Oh,
the
yeah,
part
the
about
90s.
it is right after that, we went out and did it. We were argued against it, but we have to take our orders. If not, you're insubordinate.
Yeah.
Within a couple months, there it was on top of page 1 of the papers, how much money cops made in overtime.
Oh yeah, I do
Ordered
remember
to come
that.
into work.
I do remember that. You guys they were raking it in, and it made it seem like police were just banking off the citizens when you're saying that that was your orders.
No officer had the right to say, "Oh, I'm going to go work overtime." They were ordered to work
Yeah.
overtime. They were ordered to do these.
I don't think people realize that you can do that. Like that's what's happening today. Is that
That was
police
the
officers,
reimagining policing of the time.
Yeah,
Oh.
of that day was the complete opposite
That
of what
time
we're
it
talking
was
about right
the
now.
opposite. They reimagined something different.
So there's always a cycle of reimagining.
And the reason why you need accountability is because it's the people at the very top. When I hear these discussions about the history of policing and so forth, and what it's all set up for, and and why it's all wrong today, the thing you have to look at is the very top of government, and
Probably.
politics shouldn't be a part of policing. There was a time when a police chief ran the department,
Mhm.
and they had the ability to say, no, we're not doing that. When you become a complete pawn of government, and to be, and this goes back to the turn of the 20th century. That's how you kept classes in order. That's how the ruling class, the elite, maintained control. And they used the police force that had no ability to question anything. There's no unions. There's no any way to voice concern.
Right.
Yet in 1919, they did in Boston. And it went to Seattle, Cleveland, Rochester. It was the cops, the workers that rose up to say, this is wrong. When I listen to history, get history right. We can learn from history. Let's not repeat the mistakes.
History is boring to people.
They want the
don't
cliff
want that
notes, which is
shit.
easier to see. Oh,
Yeah,
racist.
man, give it to me quick, man.
Well, it's funny that they say that police, is built off of racism, but they don't realize that technically, labor unions are also built off of racism. They were meant originally to keep black and brown people out of certain jobs.
I want to say this as far as with the whole history conversation, because I'm very close to some very, very prominent historians in the city. One particular family that's been here since the 1830s. And let me tell you, there's a lot of people
1830s?
Since the 1830s. They've been here for a long time. Their name rings bells. Sprague family. Look it up. Look them up. But anyway, long story short, today, a member of that family, we talk a lot about history here, and a lot of the leaders, a lot of people that's out here that's advocating for historical context, whatever, don't know shit about history. They don't know nothing. A lot of them is trying to reinvent whatever happened back in the day. They're not holding true to a lot of the true contributions that black and white Americans have made in the city. Let's not forget, Rochester was the first boom town in America. So we had a lot of prominent people run through the city, and what made it work was the fact that they were integrated up here. So a lot of abolitionists were up here. A lot of, former slaves were up here. A lot of people migrated from Virginia up here to the city. So when we talk about history, a lot of these motherfuckers that's talking about history, and especially when you talk about slavery, especially slavery, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. When they start talking about history, do your own fucking research. Matter of fact, do a genealogy research first before you fucking do anything else. Look into your own ancestry and see if, in fact, your family was oppressed, because you might be surprised. Your great-great-grandfather might be a bad motherfucker. You never know. So don't listen to these motherfuckers about history. I did want to point out, though.
Got another one on there? On that list?
So the lowest hourly rate goes to the secretary to the PAB, because they only want one. Poor lady. They only want one.
Why it's gotta be a lady?
I'm pretty sure she's the only one that's gonna take the shit. 48 to 62,000. When she caps out at 62, she's only making $23 an hour. While the chief of operators, because there's a chief of operations, chief of investigations, another chief of investigations, and the deputy executive director, all cap out at $56 an hour. $56 an hour. We're giving out those checks here in this city. $56 an hour to check Facebook, Instagram, check Twitter, post something on Twitter, give your opinion, Zoom, then go home.
If you can't make it in Rochester, you can't make it anywhere.
You can't make it anywhere.
That's what we talk about with the grassroots. That vote, the language of that, the actual language of what was being voted on was for 9 volunteer civilians in the city of Rochester. That board's been almost made obsolete by this. If you watch those meetings, I mean, there's a whole bureaucracy that tells them what to think and what they're going to do now. And it's you see people dropping out. Ida just recently left, and before that, Miguel. And people just dropped out because they saw it was going in the opposite direction of what the supposed 75% voted for.
They put how many lawyers?
Oh yeah. The staff attorneys. The staff attorneys is all capping out at. They're at a $48 an hour.
It's interesting. You talk about accountability, but there's no accountability to obviously this, because look how it took off and went to the sky. But then you look at how many attorneys that are there. So if you want to make a complaint against one of those attorneys, you got to go to the County Bar Association, which is part of the state association, which is made up of 24 people. 23 of them are lawyers and one's a civilian. That's their accountability board for attorneys.
That's a alarming thing for me to see a bunch of attorneys on an accountability board, because if you think about it, first of all, an attorney is supposed to know the importance of the judicial system, and the police accountability board kind of, it avoids the judicial system. Our entire country is based off of that. that system. You got to see, you have to be judged by your peers. But
well, there's also the system of when you go into mediation, right? And isn't that
Yeah.
the basis of this? Because they can't do anything. They have no disciplinary powers.
right, but why do you have an attorney there? Like what
Right.
what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What type of advice you're going to give?
I don't know what
Expensive.
the legal
Expensive
stuff-
advice.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have over 1,400 pages of general orders that we're supposed to be accountable to every second of every day, on duty and off duty. In
How many
many
pages?
cases, over 1,400 pages, and that's just general orders. That's not criminal procedural law, penal law, anything else that we have to know and do. So if you just, and basically that's what our internal affairs has become at times, and that's what this will become, an audit of the GOs. If we flip through those pages enough, I'm going to find out that your collar brass wasn't put on right, even though your complaint of excessive force, yeah, that you followed the policy. But I found 5 other things in these 1,400 pages that we can still hit you with. And that's the worry of police officers on the streets of the city of Rochester, is that when they don't find that there's
They'll find
horrible
something.
bad actors in the RPD, they're going to have to justify 5 million this year, 10 million next year, 54 paid positions. They're going to have to, how do you keep those positions if you solve your problem? I joke about this with my son, like PETA, kind of solved, I didn't say they solved the problem of animal abuse, but they did a really good job with it, to the point where they had to attack the animal cracker circus box and start saying that it shows them behind bars on the train. And my son asked that one time, and I said, I think they've kind of outlived themselves. People are treating animals better. There's always going to be still problems.
It's like the race baiters.
Well, I will say, just ask you guys a question and how you feel about the ACLU. I do think that those types of organizations give the Police Accountability Board a little bit of their, I don't know, bravado as well. They do support anything that's anti-police.
It's a direct link. Every meeting I went to,
ACLU
was ACLU.
So so good. I'm glad that we said that, because one of the ACLU's major donors is George Soros. So
You love George Soros.
I love bringing him up. It's a fact, though. He's been giving money to these organizations for years. And so with the ACLU, you have a bunch of pussy ass civil rights attorneys now that are not really relying on their skill and ability to, hold bad people accountable. And again, if it's a bad cop and you have a civil rights attorney, I'm sorry, if your rights were violated by a police officer, that police officer is violating the Constitution. You as a citizen should be protected by the Constitution. It's just how the shit's supposed to work. But the ACLU I think it does the citizens a disservice, because they're empowering, criminals.
Yeah.
Anybody that gets locked up, they can't get locked up.
They're putting their-
going to say something.
They're putting the foot on the scale. That scale that's supposed to be Lady Liberty, not Lady Liberty, but the scale of making sure that everything is even, equal. Make sure that you're held accountable. Make sure justice is served. That scale is kind of tilted.
Yeah, but that's what the ACLU job is for.
Right.
So how can we kind of shine a light on that and say, yo, they're not helping the cause at all. They're literally trying to dismantle our Constitution and create some other form of, again, bureaucracy that undermines our own civil liberties. Like, how can we kind of point that type of shit out?
Isn't it? I mean,
well, the ACLU has gone through a huge transition there, which from within imploded, because their main focus was the ability to say whatever you wanted to say. They defended Nazis and Ku Klux Klan and everybody else.
Of course
And
they
then
did.
suddenly now we see the
Of
ACLU
course.
saying, "Oh, you can't say that because that's not correct." That's not what the ACLU was. That's not what their intention or historically what they were. And you saw an old leadership leave in disgust. And they're confused and they're misguided and they're having their own issues. 10 years ago, we developed a relationship because we said we need to have an understanding with ACLU, with Metro Justice, with different organizations. We need to have that relationship, so when there's an issue, somebody can talk to somebody that has some level of belief that there's trust there, right? And We had that for a little period of time. What we've seen in the last 2 years was totally everything destroyed. Alliances, allies, relationships just went out the window overnight. That's what is incredible to grasp.
Can I, Austin? Could you do me a huge favor? Could you see how much money George Soros donated to the ACLU within the last couple of years? Because he
Well-
is also the same person that donated a shitload of money to the BLM.
And Democrats.
Oh, did he?
Oh yeah.
It seems to be a common theme. But
What-
George Soros, his organization, donated millions to the ACLU. Look, there's the open. There you go. The Open Society Foundation, and they had 335 million. I saw there as well. So all of this money that's coming into this organization and everything that their rhetoric is anti-police.
Mhm.
And then when we see these cities that are, of course, they're whores for money. Of course, they're selling their soul. They're selling out the citizens because, they're going to take that money. They're going to remove the money from the police department and put it into these police accountability boards. Like, do anybody think about following the money and saying like that should be illegal? That that happens.
Well, follow that. That's 5 million.
Oh yeah,
plus.
this right here. This is beautiful right here. I mean, there's nobody that's not. I mean, this is Kodak don't even pay this well.
There's a forensic analyst on there too.
Yeah, the forensic analyst. I seen that. Like what a digital forensic analysis. So that person is looking at all the videos like, yeah, that looks racist.
It was described at one point about picking up and analyzing shell casings.
Oh,
So try to think of the scenario in Rochester where a forensic analyst is going to arrive on what would be a crime scene, I assume, because there's casings and somehow the police are involved. And the police aren't going to do anything with those shell casings, but the forensic analyst is going to say, now it's my turn to get it because I think I'm going to fingerprint it and do it different because there's a conspiracy here. I can't even think of the scenario that would happen.
Oh my gosh, man. Do you know how many times like criminals get off? Like it could be a, whatever murder case or assault case, and a criminal will get off because either he could not be proven guilty without a reasonable doubt. It's the balance of the fucking system.
Well,
And when you start fucking with it, you fuck people up.
when you look at what's the most, I mean, the biggest thing you hear right now is about data or about this study or this article. You know why?
Well, it's
Because-
usually school data. It's usually some college that did some data research.
Probably
Well,
Brockport.
no matter
Yeah, Rockport.
no matter what the data is, they're saying it so loud because they just make people believe the data that is there that is not. And you're actually taking something and making it so loud that people believe it when it's incorrect. Let me give you a great example. We had the incident here that raised great concerns in Rochester, and that was the Prude matter. And it was a very difficult time. We understand. But let's look at it in reality. First of all, we're talking about dealing with a mental crisis issue. There's a lot of history there. We could go back to why those facilities was closed, and that was government saying it's more efficient to have prisons than it is to have mental health crisis facilities. And it was based on how many staff they had to have per client. In a mental health crisis facility, you need more staff. In a prison, you need less. It became a money issue, and which grew and grew and grew. Right now, we take it forward to what the actual problems were here, and I think there was opportunity. We spoke for years about the problems that we're having with mental crisis. We had our brother lost his eyesight before anything happened to Daniel Prude. We have a law that they're trying to pass in Albany, a Daniel Prude law, an individual who comes from Illinois, not from New York State. When we have a police officer who lost his eyesight in a mental crisis issue that was born, raised, lived here, stayed in the same area of the city to patrol, never left patrol because he believed he could make a difference, but Was there any conversation about that?
Mm-mm.
Was
Well,
there
we don't talk
anything
about
that?
victims.
Well, you want to know why? Because the reason the mental health crisis has kind of been a fucking healthcare problem. Like, first of all, medical healthcare system. Stop fucking putting everybody on antidepressants. Stop putting everybody on anxiety meds. Stop thinking that everybody is fucked up, because when you give them chemicals where it could just be stress that's causing them to be what they are, you give them all these medications, and then all of a sudden you have a mental health situation and mental
and
health.
opioid crisis.
Oh, right. And I mean, the list goes on, but the history of mental health, shit, it's been going back when, like, they were removing teeth out of people's mouth and organs, thinking that was going to solve the mental health problems. So when you start to put it on the police department, that to me is a conglomerate, pointing the finger at somebody else, like the medical healthcare system, knowing that the medical insurance system is not going to cover for someone that is mentally whatever, because it could be pre-existing conditions or some shit like that are not going to give them proper care. So the snowball effect within the medical healthcare system that is not doing their fucking job, that is pretty much probably, I could say, one of the worst institutions in this country right now, because they are not doing their job for the people. Now, I'm pretty sure there's some good hospitals out there. There's some institutions, but the way they treat mental health patients from within the mental health facilities and also in our hospitals is not helping RPD. It's not helping the city. And I remember when former Chief Singletary addressed the Daniel Prude situation, he spoke of having more resources for mental health. And I thought that wasn't fair to RPD, because that's a fucking very tough, delicate job.
Can I speak to that though? Because if there's anything that we can really show right now, I thought about this a long time. The loudest voices we heard were the police are not trained, they're not equipped, they don't know how to handle this situation. So we sat back and listened, and they put a pick team together, and they put resources supposedly together. And then it's very clear now. I will stand up to anyone, and I'll say this without any hesitation at all. The best people that are equipped to handle a person in crisis on the street is a police officer. We've been forced to learn, and we have learned, and we have the experience. And in fact, when they put this so-called team together, we have body-worn cameras now. Let's have a study to go back and let's cover every issue of response. You know what you're going to see? 90 plus, maybe 99% of the time, it was a police officer in the scene. You don't see a PIC team member. You see them off, not engaging in anything. When they attempted to engage, it created a worse problem. Our biggest problem is, just like in Prude, had we got an ambulance there in time, our guys know you have a certain amount of period of time to get somebody help. Our whole philosophy is get them to help. That's what happened to Prude initially. Our people did a great job.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I always bring up my brother who passed. He had very, very serious mental health issues, and RPD was always in contact with him because he was on Lyle Ave all the time, and they would bring him, to family and warn, like, hey, you gotta help him out. He needs help. And the sad story is he was trying to get the help, trying to get the state, trying to get in a state facility. They didn't improve him until he was murdered out in the streets by a random person, not by a police officer, but by a citizen of the city, broad daylight. So I am very, very passionate about mental health, and also how folks are treated in the city. And I feel for the people, that's related to the Daniel Prude situation. I understand, as far as a family, how it's hard to watch and take care of a loved one, but
And
there can
every
be
year be reminded of it by the entire city of Rochester.
the city of Rochester. But more importantly, at the same time, everyone could have done something different that night.
Including the person that was in the handcuffs.
Exactly.
In this day and age, those things shouldn't be able to occur. And how do we not have, what was the logic in taking facilities and closing them? Why did we, attack a workforce, PEF, that were specialists in having those facilities? And we thought a better alternative was prisons. You don't put somebody that's has a mental crisis, mental issues into prison. That's not that not in this day and age.
It's medical field. That's them.
But
Hey.
do the police want to handle those issues anymore?
We don't want to handle them, but the reality is
You have
we're the
to.
best at it. And when we get there's no clinician that's going to give therapy on the street.
Right.
You can't. You don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know the circumstances. You don't do any of that. When they talk and they say, well, they can come in and they know how to engage the person and bring them down and de-escalate. Well, you've had a year, right, to show it, and you can't pick out one. Just last weekend, Adam brought a case forward that's phenomenal. It should be the basis to show what police officers are doing. We have unbelievable people. We talked about diversifying our department. And one of the things that I stressed was we need more female officers.
Can you say that nowadays?
Absolutely.
I would love to see more female officers because there is nothing like seeing a baddie in a uniform, boy.
After the Lil Wayne song too.
Yo, I've seen maybe recently, like maybe 4 or 5 of them. One's a state trooper. I seen her. I was like, oh shoot. She
You guys have some
bad.
counseling, okay?
Yeah, I'm not
Listen,
going to
man.
respond to that.
but I would love to see that because it's diverse, because we got a lot of ratchet females out there too. And these ratchet females that's running around these streets, boy, they need another female that's, you know what I mean? Like, yo, listen.
Just as ratchet.
They're gonna
Just
take,
ask.
They're gonna take somebody keys. They should be
Yeah,
held
right.
accountable.
This be held accountable, man. Them ratchet hoes I was at that bar that night. Listen, I think and when we talk about diversity all the time, you know what I'm saying? We talk about it.
But some people mean diversity of thought, while other people mean diversity of skin color. And to me, I think that that's not right.
What, the diversity of thought or skin color?
I think that we keep talking about diversity and they mean skin color. I don't think that's right. Like I don't care about diversity of skin color. Being a Latino, all I care about is someone who's been in that situation, who understands the situation. Someone that understands the Latino culture, the Hispanic culture, the Black culture, the Burmese, Nepalese, like people that understand.
Hard as fuck.
Yeah, but it's not that hard when you can understand, when you can pick people from within the community, when their parents say you need to be a police officer. You see that man, you see that woman over there, you respect that person and you give them respect. And when they come by in a parade, you freaking shake their hand or salute them or something, damn it.
Yeah.
We're missing that. We don't have that anymore.
No, we don't. But when everybody's on their phone and no one's like really looking out and seeing who's within their own community, because police officers they're out there patrolling, they're out there doing their job. So a lot of people are just out here Monday morning quarterbacking, man. They don't really know what's going on.
Most people, right? And all they know is what's going on from the news, what they tell them,
right?
Based on that one headline, not even reading.
Based on that tweet, Ram 13 News.
Yeah, based on 180.
You know what I mean? Like breaking news, right? Breaking nothing.
And based on that, and we do have to hit on this because I know that people are going to have an issue with having the president of the Locust Club on, and someone brought it up to me earlier before about the history of the hit squad and what you had to go through, which you were completely acquitted of. Might I mind that right there? And plus, I also don't agree that people are what happened in their past. So speak on that, because I know that there's people watching that have been waiting this entire time to hear something about that. Can you speak on back then, how the mentality, how the police squad, how the directive was back in the day? I don't know. I wasn't in at that time. I wasn't around. I was a young kid. So talked about the early 90s, talk about the hit squad, talk about what you went through.
Well, the name itself was Highway Interdiction Team. And that was a philosophy going across the country. And a number of us, we trained in that philosophy. And it was, quite frankly, from the neighborhoods that were frustrated. Why did it take so long to rid a neighborhood of a drug house?
How people feel right now.
This is
'Cause
back
I feel
then.
like, yeah, I know, but
Right.
what I'm saying is
Exactly.
it feels like how people are
Mhm.
feeling right now where they want to see another hit squad. But go ahead, continue.
Exactly.
Bring them.
Yeah, for real.
Yo.
I know that's what they're saying. I hear it all the time.
Listen, if we can give out bullshit jobs, right?
And pay them $80,000.
hire me to be the one that don't have to wear the camera that could just chin check somebody because
Oh, you're messing up my whole thing here. This is
Oh,
like
my bad.
it was
My
leading
bad.
to that whole thing of this is how life always comes back full circle. Does
yes.
continue before the dog goes on his tirade here.
Well, this course of policing
Mhm.
is set up in a way to be fast, quick, effective, to show immediate responses to changes in neighborhood. I'm telling you, we would hit 5 or 6 or 7, 8 locations every single night.
Man,
it was
people
insane.
would love that today.
Yo.
Guaranteed, people would love that
Yo,
today.
Well,
so-
we would hit a place, and you talk about some of the people you know. They
Uh-huh.
were all there. right?
Yeah, I know the stories.
But we would come out of the house, and neighborhood people would come out and clap. People that wouldn't let their children out in the front yard.
Mm.
You know what? We have to protect good people. Like everything that we stress is it's about protecting good cops, not bad cops or bad people.
Right.
It's the same thing. But we were highly effective. One of the things that didn't occur was violence was very, very low because nobody wanted to be caught with a gun and they didn't know where we're coming out of.
Yeah.
We were crazy. We were coming out of trees. We were coming out of backyards, and bikes.
I love it.
But we were allowed to do the job, and we were told to do it. And
I was gonna say, not only allowed, you were told,
we were praised.
you were asked by the community.
mean, yo.
We were
community
given
to do it.
the mayoral awards, the team awards in the city for the amount of work that we did that used to be a long-term investigation
Mhm.
that would get to maybe 1 or 2 people.
Right.
In that period of time, we've taken out 200, 300 people, right? And listen, we didn't care if you were white, black, Hispanic.
You about to get it.
Right,
Whatever.
about to get yoked up.
It was that, and that was, and there was no question about that. And people knew us, and there was a number of
You didn't wear like things on your face that
no,
block
we
you?
didn't have any of that
No?
stuff.
Oh, man.
we didn't we didn't have that, and
Listen.
and we started to see kids that all of a sudden we're looking at, and we got nicknames like jump outs or I forget the other one for sneakers. I can't even remember so long. But then we started to see these kids
Bubbles?
in the neighborhoods kind of dressing the way we were dressing,
Mhm.
jumping out. And the one thing that was established was everybody knew, and then everybody said, "Oh, you don't mess with that."
Right.
They're here. We're gone. We're
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
We're out of here. And we had to operate quickly. We had to go in with force. Nobody got hurt though. There was a lot of accusations, a lot of crazy things.
I can name a couple right here. All right. So one guy had a dreadlock cut from his head. An unnamed youth having illegal alien written in ink across his forehead. Before I even go through this, there was none of these that were attached to you.
Thank you.
Had a flour-like powdery substance dumped over his head, like farva, I guess. Some had racial slurs yelled at them. Vice Squad had a wooden stick they referred to as their N-word stick, and as an office souvenir, someone
Yo, you know who probably said that? It was a black cop that probably said that.
someone compared Jamaicans to Timex wristwatch, stating they could take a licking and keep on ticking.
Yeah, that's funny.
Which wasn't the hit team. There was a separate team that worked exclusively. Could you imagine?
There was
now
another team
if-
that was
well,
exclusive.
let me explain something. At the time, can you imagine you had a team named the Jamaican Task Force or Jamaican Drug Crime Task Force or something? Could you imagine having a task force now you named after
Oh yeah,
something?
canceled immediately.
Oh, all day.
Canceled immediately.
All day. You know what's funny, and I'm glad you guys are here because I'll be on Twitter late night, and I guess a tweet right where the news pops up. They said dude assaulted a police officer, right? So they showed a video, and my man was like handcuffed,
Beat up.
arms handcuffed, ankles handcuffed. I was like, yo, they had to fuck his ass up because if you're gonna assault a police officer, first of all, what people don't realize, they don't understand, a police officer is an active citizen as well. So if you assault them, they have every right to bust your shit. Period. You swing first, I can protect myself. You're lucky they didn't pop your ass. But if you assault me, I'm going to assault you back. And they had this dude sitting in the snow, probably like, all right, motherfucker, you're going to sit here and cool off a bit, handcuffed. So then when they picked him up, he's just cuffed everywhere like he's a goddamn, I don't know what the fuck, like a deer or some shit that they caught. Just toss his ass in the car. But you know what? That's what you get. You break the law, and then you want to
people
fight.
nowadays don't like that.
The fuck? What are you gonna do? And then when they whooping your ass,
trust me, I said it in a meeting. I said there's this guy that keeps breaking into freaking garages, stealing tools, stealing stuff like that. Every time they arrest him,
bust his shit.
He's never around. Like he gets a ticket and he never shows up. And I told him straight in the meeting on city council meeting. I said, look, I'm not like these other people on city council here. If you need to yoke them up,
bust this shit.
And you see like you see them like, like, oh my God, you can't say that. And I'm like, no, like for real. But if you can't arrest him, make sure he feels it at least. My God. Shit. See, I don't understand how people are just okay with the nonsense out there. But if a police officer trips somebody and they bruise their elbow, they sue the city for $1 million. And they're like, yeah, he deserves that. Like, to me, it's crazy.
No, I will say this there now. Okay. I've come across some police officers that were dicks, right? They were dicks.
Yeah, I have too.
Right.
We
all have. Like, everybody's had a bad day. Their wife wasn't giving no buns. Or
some people are just assholes.
They bring that shit to the job, whatever. Right. But I do know that I'm not about to swing on the motherfucker unless you swing on me first. Period. Like, if you swing on me first, then I'm sorry. Without the badge, whatever, we're just gonna duke it out. And if I lose because your homeboy jump in, fuck it. Then we take it to court, whatever. Right? But yo, I'm sorry, y'all. Choose your words wisely and don't swing. When you see cops, especially there's some big ass cops out there, man.
And there's some fat ass cops.
Yeah. How the hell do you think you're going to subdue? Like, words is not going to stop no 6'3" motherfucker that's ready to go at it. Like, he's drunk. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, send him a text? Like, yo, dog, you wildin'? Like, how do you subdue somebody? That's the word they see. There's other ways they could subdue someone.
Well, on top of that, that's another thing as well. People don't realize that not every police officer has a taser, right? Not every police officer has a taser. Not every police officer has a shotgun with a sandbag, whatever the hell it is.
Beanbag rounds.
Beanbag. They don't have the capability of shooting that gun that wraps the paracord around them quite yet.
You know what the biggest thing is? Officer responds and has no information. So anytime that you want to, Monday morning quarterback, you got all this background information.
Yeah, of course.
So now it's in my mind. I know what I would
see
do.
This.
We just had 3 officers assaulted that turned out to be probably an arson fire just the other day. It was a call for I think a suspicious individual or suspicious condition. That's all they have, or a disturbance, neighbor disturbance. And I forget what the address was. It was just 2 days ago, maybe. And the officers knock on the door opened up, and they described it as a billy club. But you just started swinging on him, hit him in the head. We had back injuries, hand injuries. They get him into custody. They have no idea what's going on. They smell smoke, alert fire, and he's trying to burn down the high rise. I mean, but they have no information. We had released one last year. It was body camera footage.
Was it the Pines?
No, it was here in the city.
Oh, geez.
It was right here in the city. Yeah, and
there's a lot of arson going on in the city.
We released one before where there was at 125 St. Paul, where the gentleman that they're used to dealing with, they opened the door. He opened the door with 2 knives up like this. They drew down on him and did not shoot him.
Listen,
he opened the door again with knives. They created distance. They kept trying to do what they could do. If he came out, they would have to shoot him. And then you go Monday morning quarterback. You say, but he had a mental illness. We don't know, but could he really get to you?
Doesn't matter.
Could you survive the knife attack? Like,
it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
When I was a brand new cop, I was with a cop who I really respect. Had a lot of years on him, and our task was to go out and look for some wanted warrants. So we went into this apartment building, and so we had to go to the superintendent's store to get access to where we wanted to go. So we bang it on. It's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, So I understand people are sleeping, And I'm with this older cop who was really unbelievable with people, and an African American, and he was just sharp. So we bang on the door like crazy with our sticks and stuff. And this door opens up and this guy goes, why? And he just goes in our face screaming and yelling. And the guy I'm with goes, just a minute. Look at yourself. Now you go back
Look
in
at
there,
yourself.
shut the door, and do this over again.
Yes.
Shut the door.
Yes.
And I'm standing there going, huh? I'm a new cop. And then door opens up. Oh, good morning, officers. What can I do for you? I was like,
my god!
can you imagine? It would be now you raised your voice to me.
Discourtesy.
Right.
Yo, my
Right.
gosh, right.
You hurt his feelings.
Yo, listen, I'm
And
glad I'm not a cop today. I'm shooting everybody.
I'm shooting everybody. Like I
Fuck
tell everybody
that.
all the
I'm
time.
shooting everybody.
I'm like, you can't tell me that if someone
Shooting
breaks
you
into my
down.
house,
Like, yo, forget it. Let's take this to the PAB. Let's go.
if someone
We
walks
got-
behind me while I walk into my
Alright,
vehicle
check.
late at night, I'm shooting them
I'm just
immediately.
shooting them.
There's no question.
No, man, yo, and again, these motherfuckers is out here talking all that shit. Yo, what are you gonna do when that shit is on your doorstep? You're calling RPD, and then you're gonna complain about how long it took them to get there.
Mhm.
You know,
Yep.
fucking pussies, man. Stop being pussies, yo.
Let's
Let
go
them
through
do
the
their job.
let's go through the questions here. I want to make sure we address our fans out there all across the world. Well, always
Everyone used to call him Graybeard. Who's that? Who's Graybeard?
hold on. There
Oh,
was
it's
a
not
few
me.
bad ones on that jump out squad. Everyone used to call him Graybeard. I think that's keep going.
Yeah.
Well,
that was it.
well, here's the thing with the jump out squad, though. If you're not doing anything wrong, then anybody's coming out on that squad ain't bad. Period. If you putting dope,
That squad's not coming after you if you ain't.
putting right, if you're not putting dope into these streets, then you're not. Then you're doing something bad. You don't have nothing to say about the.
Or you don't hang out with the wrong people. Again,
No.
it really. I'm tired of people not realizing that personal accountability does still exist.
Yeah.
Like you are
It
the
should.
the average of the 5 people you hang around with, and if you're hanging out with people on the streets, dealing whatever the hell they're dealing nowadays, acting a damn fool, not doing anything that improves the life that you live now, and then you're still complaining about the life that you live now and complaining about the apartment that you're living in, but yet you're hanging out with the same people you hang out with 10 years ago. That's a problem.
That's a problem. Well,
And if you know they're dealing drugs and you know they have illegal guns or you know they're doing just stupid stuff out there, they're freaking stick up boys, whatever they may be, you know that's who they are. Stop hanging out with them.
a real smart man told me, he said, I don't know if I got the percentages right. He said 5 to 10% of the people of the world they're just going to be bad regardless. They're going to do whatever the fuck they want to do. They don't give a fuck. Then there's a good, 80% that's, probably won't do anything, but there's another 10 to 20% that will do it with the thought of not being caught. Right. So they figure if I'm with them, they're doing it. I'm not going to get caught. They will break the law. But I'm not going to get caught. People just think just retarded nowadays. Period. But I want to ask this question. We have a new mayor and a new county executive, and I'm all about like strong leadership, because we got some problems, man. We got some people getting shot. We got some people getting robbed, i.e. me. I'm a statistic now. By the way, I got a Volkswagen Jet out there.
What color?
Gray.
What year?
License plate 2016. License plate KSF 4048. That is my car. If you
Damn, you
find
know
it. Fuck yes.
What's the reward on that?
Yeah, what is the award? I don't do shit for free.
Well, I don't know because I got insurance on it. So if I can get another
4-door sedan?
I'll let it go. Yes, 4-door. But with our problems that we have today, do you guys feel confident that you're going in a foxhole with some very strong, like big chin men? Because I think one of the leaders has boxers with 4 dick holes in them, and the other one, I don't know if he's ever bust a grape or probably wouldn't bust a grape
In a fruit fight?
Never, hardly ever. When you again, it just being in your position, do you get worried every election? Like, fuck, we got to deal with this pussy. Like, does that go through the police department at all?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Yes, I love the honesty. Honesty.
But all of us have got to give those individuals the ability to feel confident to be tough. Yeah. That takes the neighborhood. That takes everybody.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
It's
Well-
funny. Someone had commented, I didn't see who it was. It goes back to Chris
you
Rock.
look out in child life for my Jetta.
No, it goes back to Chris Rock. How not get your ass whooped Her ass kicked by the police.
in the car.
Nah, don't ask him. He's gonna take it.
Yeah.
He's gonna take it. Thanks, Tom. I hope you
He did
look
take
out,
it.
man.
Gotta leave the mad woman at home.
Oh,
God,
leave her-
Charlie.
yo, don't even Will Smith is a pussy.
Going back to that.
Man up, dog.
Did we miss anybody? Keep going up. I don't know if we miss anybody. Become who you surround yourself with.
That's
Absolutely.
fact. That's a
Oh, hi,
fact.
Patricia. No questions from her.
Oh, no questions from you. Where you at? You ain't saying nothing, Patricia. I know
Right.
you usually got something to
Oh,
say.
Frank Umbrino. Shout out to Frank Umbrino.
What up?
We want Frank Umbrino
What'd he say?
speaking
Tell
the truth
Bello
and facts
we
on TV
want-
again.
We want what?
Frank
For-
Umbrino.
Oh, okay. Speaking the truth and facts. Right. I don't think
All these kids are on Adderall. All these kids are on some drugs nowadays. I found out, we keep hearing about young kids having heart attacks nowadays. Not yet kids, but young men.
Mhm.
May or may not be from COVID vaccine. But they're taking the blue pill.
Oh, the male.
Yeah.
Man.
They're taking Viagra to keep up with the sexuality of their culture nowadays.
Man.
So they're
Is that something new? I've never heard of
Yeah.
what that is.
Yeah.
How do you say it again?
What is this blue pill you speak of? Where can you get it? Tell me right now.
Yo, they about to mess themselves up because they ain't gonna work when they 30.
But they're selling it at gas stations nowadays. All that
Really?
freaking weird stuff. You don't never see it.
Oh man.
You don't go to the hood. That's why I go to the hood.
No, I'm in the hood all the time. I'm just not looking for
You
sex
gotta
products.
ask them for like.
I'm looking for a soda.
How do you not
some
see it? It's like
cheese,
right
some
next to the freaking Red Bull. Like,
bro,
it's
I'm not
weird.
looking at all that behind them.
Oh, that's the
when
funny
you get
stuff.
fucked up.
That's where you're like, all right, I'm gonna see if someone's coming in to have some
I'm
sexy
good,
time tonight
man.
or something.
Nope. I'm getting my chips, my water, and I'm out. I
What
ain't
kind of
looking at-
chips? What kind of water?
It depends. I might go with the cheddar cheese joints. I might go with some flaming hot Doritos. Just depends on where I'm at. My mood.
No candy bar.
Almond Snickers all day.
Almond Snickers.
Almond Snickers, yo. The 2-pack, bro.
Yo, you
They're
are
good.
Uncle
The
Tom.
2-pack. See what? That's new. That
Almond
is
Snickers.
new. Uncle Tom with the Snickers. Shit. Fuck it. I'm Uncle Tom then. I like them shits.
Yeah.
Them shits is great.
Call me Uncle Tomas.
All day. I'll get fucking one after the show.
Well, I appreciate you guys so much for coming on. And during your time out there on the streets, if you ever come across someone with some mental health problems and his name happens to be Kanye West, let him know I've been trying to get a hold of him. He needs to be on the show. Someone who definitely needs to be arrested for being just off the wall crazy. John Leguizamo, let him know as well. I've been trying to get him on the show. But I appreciate you guys coming on. Appreciate you speaking your truths. I appreciate everything you guys do and our police forces do out there as well. Keep them on their toes. Let them know that they are appreciated.
Please.
Like freaking Tupac's
Appreciate it.
mom.
Yes, man. Please find my car too.
Please.
God damn.
Someone
man.
let's put a thing out there. If
and
you
you know
find
what's
We're
someone-
gonna put the bloodhound on it.
please,
We've
and
got a
yo.
bloodhound for you. We're gonna put him on it.
Right.
Yo,
Not an actual one, but an officer.
we don't know who it could. It could be them ratchet chicks. It could have been the Puerto Ricans I was sitting next to. Who knows?
We can't find it though tonight. If we find it tonight, it'll be like a setup that we stole it from you.
Right.
And then
Right. They did.
Hey.
They definitely did.
Listen. I've thought of so many of my own personal sting operations. I swear to God, like
What?
I haven't been able to sleep. Like yo, when your shit is stolen, and also they have my house keys, my registration was in the car too. So listen, motherfuckers, if you come to my house, it's a different story.
They got that. They got your Viagra in there as well.
Yo, what?
Next to
How
the-
much-
Oh,
Your
natural,
orange-
baby. I don't need none of that.
How much gas was in the car?
Yo, it was
Oh,
over
that's
half
probably
a
what it
tank.
That's probably why they stole it.
Yeah, it was
the
over
gas is
half
more
a
expensive than
tank.
anything. Oh, that's what it was.
I got the unlimited, Delta Sonic pass. Motherfucker, I just got it washed. Yes, man. Yes, Austin.
What color was it again?
Gray. And I just paid the fucking car note. And I don't got the car. Motherfuckers, give me my shit back. Please.
What those women look like? Put 'em
Yo,
out
they
there.
was ratchet, yo. Like, yo, one chick had like the eyelashes that looked like
bat
owl
wings. Bat wings.
Yo, them joints was like made. And she's like this, girl. I swear to God, girl, that motherfucker came over to my crib. I'm like, yo, this bitch is crazy over here.
You left them that close to you?
Yo, what am I gonna do? I'm waiting for my wings. I'm more introverted than people think. So I'm in the corner, like, yo, this bitch right here. And then they got me. They got me, bro. They got me. I know they did.
It was a dude in the bathroom. But thank you-
Dude, no. I didn't even go to the bathroom, man.
Eddie Murphy. All right. I appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks so much for staying on and bringing us some treats as well as some goodie bag here.
Yeah.
Stay blessed out there. Austin, hit that funky music.